Happy to welcome to the Sunrise Morning Show, John Zaller. He's executive producer of Exhibition Hub's Titanic, an Immersive Voyage, which is in Cincinnati right now. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Anna. Happy to be on it, talking about Titanic and Immersive Voyage right on West 4th Street.
Yes.
Right downtown.
Right downtown. And we are going to be talking about some Catholic angles to the story of the sinking of the Titanic. But I do want to find out a little bit more about what this immersive voyage is. Can you tell us about what someone would experience if they attend?
Sure. So Titanic and Immersive Voyage is an entirely new way of telling the Titanic story using a lot of traditional techniques with artifacts, text panels, and set recreations. But we've also overlaid this with an incredible array of technology, including a 35-minute immersive show that takes you into the story of the ship like never before, and a virtual reality dive to the shipwreck where you can see the wreck of the Titanic better than you could if you actually dove to the wreck. So it's really a powerful connection to the story that just hasn't been seen before.
That kind of sounds terrifying, John.
Well, you are on land. You do put a headset on, and so you're completely surrounded by the deep sea.
Wow!
But really, when you come up on the wreck and you see it, there's something very magical and mystical about it, because that shipwreck is the last remaining witness to this incredible story and this incredible tragedy. And you really feel the power of it when you're there. You do a tour in the virtual reality. You do an entire tour of the front section of the wreck, the bow section, and it's still sitting there at 2.5 miles beneath the surface of the ocean, and it really is very powerful.
Wow. Can you talk a little bit about the work 40 years ago of Dr. Robert Ballard, which sort of made this exhibit possible?
So Dr. Bob Ballard discovered the wreck of the Titanic 40 years ago, as you were saying, Anna. He was on actually a top secret mission with the U.S. Navy, looking for some lost submarines that had been lost during the Cold War. And they did find those submarines, and on their way back, Ballard, as part of his mission plan, had included searching these coordinates where he thought Titanic was located. And with only 1 day left on his mission, he sent out an autonomous robotic underwater device scanning this area and slowly started finding these non-organic shapes, and suddenly discovered a massive non-organic shape, which is one of the ship's boilers. And from there, they discovered the ship and brought back these incredible first images from Titanic, many of which are still some of the most seminal images that we use today.
Wow. Now, when it comes to passengers, of course, there would be Catholics on board the Titanic. Some might not know there were 3 Catholic priests on the Titanic, and I was looking it up. Easter Sunday in 1912 was April 7th. The Titanic set sail on her maiden voyage, the doomed voyage, 3 days later on April 10th. So they were in the octave of Easter, and these priests were ministering and celebrating Mass on board, correct?
That is correct, yes. They did have private and group gatherings, a lot of times in the first-class dining room, but throughout the ship. Priests were attending to their flock throughout the entire voyage. I mean, you had a lot of Irish Catholics coming over, in third class, emigrating to the U.S. in hopes of a better life. You certainly had ministers from across all the classes, because the spirituality and the faith on board the ship was very strong.
Wow. So these priests would have celebrated Mass on the octave day of Easter, which is what we now in the church celebrate as Divine Mercy Sunday. It wasn't named that back then, but this is taking place on April 14th when they're celebrating the octave day Easter Mass, and the ship goes down in the overnight hours. Do we know about what the priests did? Are there any accounts of this?
So Father Thomas Biles is well documented as attending to people during Titanic's final hours and actually leading groups in prayer during Titanic's final moments. It's well documented that he really was a source of solace and hope and prayer and comfort and calm in those final moments, that he really was sort of everywhere on the ship, making sure that people were attended to, that they were getting into lifeboats, and those who couldn't make it into lifeboats, once those final ships were gone, those final lifeboats were gone, he really did gather people in prayer on the boat deck and help them find some comfort in those final moments.
Did any of the three priests survive, John?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Wow. I was looking it up, and I saw it was a link that actually you sent me for the Father Thomas Byles page on the Encyclopedia Titanica, and there is actually an image of his memorial card after his death, and listeners will be very interested to know that this memorial card lists as his last words of the deceased, "And I, by his authority, absolve thee." So this Catholic priest, as he's leading everyone in prayer, also offering absolution for those who were left on board as the Titanic was sinking in those overnight hours after celebrating the Easter octave mass. It's just an incredible story. And as you were saying, there's some immersive experience, a virtual reality experience that folks can dive and see the remains of the Titanic. John, how can listeners find out more about getting tickets and the like to be able to check this out? How long will it be in Cincinnati?
So we're hoping to be in Cincinnati through the spring, and we have had a few other experiences at this same location on West 4th Street. Van Gogh, the Immersive Experience, was there, and Claude Monet, the Immersive Experience, was there. The best way to get tickets is going to expo-titanic.com, and we're open every day except for Tuesdays throughout the spring. And with the support of the community, hopefully we can stay longer.
Nice. Well, you can find that linked at our site, sonrisemorningshow.com. We've been talking to John Zaller, who's the executive producer of Exhibition Hub's Titanic and Immersive Voyage. And, John, really appreciate you coming on the show to tell us these stories this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Thank you so much.
You bet. All right.